This is the scene inside the Huddersfield dressing room, and here is their team. Donlan at fullback, then it goes O'Hare, Evans, Bailey and St Hilaire. Costin, who is the captain, alongside Paul March. The forwards Gannon, Penkovic and Grayshon, Nero, Stuart Jones and Rorty. And the substitutes Slicker, Smith, White and former Leeds man Darren Fleary. And the coach is John Sharp. Now Leeds Rhinos sitting pretty at the top at the moment. Mathers at full-back, then it's Cummins, McKenna, Senior and Bye, Maguire and Dunemann. Up front, McDonald, Diskin, Ward. Ferner returns for the first time in 6 weeks. Lauatiti and Sinfield, who's the captain. And the subs, Burrow, McDermott, Adamson and Poching. The coach, who was here, of course, at Huddersfield just 12 months ago, Tony Smith. Well, John Sharp knows that another 2 wins and they will have surpassed their best ever Super League season that was achieved under Tony Smith last year. But his team have gone off the boil in recent weeks. They've lost the last 3 and indeed 7 of the last 9. But they still hold 6th place and they're aiming for their first ever appearance in the playoffs. But the Rhinos, led out here by Kevin Sinfield, are on course to win their first league title since '72 and are set to top the table ahead of the playoffs. They're unbeaten in the last 6, but they were held to a 36-all draw in London 3 weeks ago. And their captain returns to the ground on which he kicked one of his greatest goals of his career that forced extra time in last year's Cup semi-final here. It was a wonderful effort off the touchline. Well, it's a hot, humid, sultry afternoon, but Steve-O, perfect pitch, warm sunshine, and apart from the humidity, conditions wonderful for a great game.
Yeah, near perfect for the 3 quarters, not so for the big forwards. They certainly will struggle. Huddersfield, as you just mentioned, just a little bit off the boil at the moment. Leeds cock-a-hoop, but they came here last season and the Huddersfield Giant fans had plenty to cheer about that particular night, and the Rhinos went back down the M62 without the 2 winning points. Big night for this fella Carl Kirkpatrick too. Let's hope that he gives both sides a good 10 metres. The quality that's on display tonight is superb. Sit back, we will be entertained, that is for sure.
Huddersfield beat Leeds here 30 points to 24 last year. The end of that 38-year wait to beat their rivals from Headingley. In their last 2 games though, Leeds have run in 20 tries and 116 points against St Helens and Wakefield at home in the past fortnight.
I think that's also going to be the ploy for the Leeds coach Tony Smith. I think Leeds will try to just run off the Giants, run them off their feet in the opening 10-15 minutes.
Sinfield gets us underway then here in glorious sunshine. There's a little bit of fog across the field at the moment, but that's from the smoke of the firework display that greeted the 2 teams as they came out. That will soon clear. And well, it's a big day for Huddersfield, it really is. And a big day also for Tony Smith, who returns to this ground for the first time since he left Huddersfield at the end of last year. He said it wouldn't really play much in his pre-match thinking, but obviously at the end of it he might just reflect if it is a job well done or something that needs to be adjusted for the challenges that lie ahead.
Well, the Giants really have to look to the half-back combination, Brandon Costin and Paul March. If they control things out there, that's a poor kick, far too deep. Ground very, very hard. Here's the man, Brandon Costin, got plenty of experience, of course.
Well, I know it's pretty warm up here, but I understand that Bill Arthur has had his thermometer out this afternoon. Bill, just how hot is it at pitch level?
Eddie, right out in the middle of the pitch at the moment, it's 30 degrees, nudging 31 degrees. A bit of an occasional breeze blowing at the Giants' backs, but really nothing to cool them down. It's going to be very, very hot work out there. I suspect that Huddersfield's ploy early doors is going to be try and slow this Leeds outfit down. The pitch, well, is very firm indeed. In fact, 1 or 2 of the Leeds players suggesting that it's almost too firm and could have done with a bit of watering beforehand. You saw how that ball skipped away. That's going to be one of the factors here.
And the drive in here from McKenna. Thanks, Bill. Difficult conditions then for the players. Very firm underfoot and very, very warm indeed. Not the best from Dunemann. gobbled up by March, and SINFIELD could easily have been penalised then.
Should have been as well. As you say, bad effort from Andrew DUNEMANN.
Here's Jim Gannon for Huddersfield.
Just didn't get any weight behind it at all. Very lax.
And Donlan for Huddersfield, watched carefully by Danny Ward and Danny Maguire. Short ball to Bailey. Oh, he's dropped it. The ball went backwards. No, the referee says it's a knock on by Julian Bailey.
Well, it appeared to go back. As you can see, he was being twisted round by the attempted tackle by Danny Maguire. And to me, they've been badly done to the Giants.
Had they retained possession, which they did, maybe it would have been play on. Oh, there's a real battle going on at the Willows now. 22-20, Saints coming back. Wakefield stretching the lead against Castleford. And the big one at the Halton Stadium, London 38, Widnes 24. There will be some jitters, I'll tell you, down at the foot of the table at the end of today. Here at Huddersfield, it's Danny Ward for Leeds, driving the ball forward. 90th appearance for Leeds, and in the best form of his life, Danny Ward, and getting the penalty, holding down as Ward tried to get to his feet. Huddersfield penalised again.
Well, we knew this was going to be the tactics by the Giants. As we mentioned before the kickoff, Eddie, it's fast conditions, and you look at the three-quarter line. McKenna Senior, Marcus Pye, Francis Cummins, and they got plenty of pace, that's for sure. And that was one big hit, wasn't it? Oh, McDonald doesn't know where he is.
We felt that, and this is Richie Mathers. And Mathers is brought to the ground, a new 2-year contract agreed this week for Mathers. He'll stay at Headingley. Diskin, Dunemann, Ward, a short ball. And it's Huddersfield who are having to muscle up in defence. And GRAYSHON was in there, Gannon was in there, Nero was in there. This is Diskin. Here's McDonald, the big man's over. First try of the afternoon for Leeds Rhinos, courtesy of Wayne McDonald. 2 tries as a sub against St Helens 3 weeks ago, but here today, on from the start and getting the Leeds Rhinos underway.
Just shows you the effort. If he had a little short ball there, twist around. That was great work by the big prop forward, McDonald. As soon as he gets the ball, watch him twist. Really should have had him down. He's such a tall man, very difficult. Just spun a wave there. Not in they could do anything about it. Neat little pass from the hooker Matt Diskin. You talk about players who are on top of their form. Diskin has been sensational for the Rhinos this year.
This is his first start. Wayne McDonald since the win at Warrington, 38-22 last month. And here now is the captain, Kevin Sinfield, who needs 4 points for 200 for the season in Super League 9. Taking his time, as I think we can only expect on a roasting hot warm day. Certainly the best day of the summer so far, the best weekend of the summer so far. And time is now called off by Carl Kirkpatrick. The goal kickers, once the tries have been scored, are allowed 1 minute, and if they delay further than that, the referee calls time off. And I think we'll be seeing plenty of time being called off today by referee Mr. Kirkpatrick. Sinfield then to add the extras. And Sinfield does. The Huddersfield Giants 0, Leeds Rhinos 6. Well, I wonder who the members of the media have got their eye on today as possible candidates for man of the match. Dave Hadfield.
Too many of Huddersfield's best players missing perhaps today, Eddie. I think a big task for Stuart Donald standing in for Paul Reilly at fullback. If there are off the pace at all defensively, then Danny Maguire, already a record breaker this season, he could have a field day. If you ask a lot of Leeds fans who their most consistent player's been this season, though, they'd say Matt Diskin. We've already seen some of his good work from dummy half at this early stage of the game.
Indeed so. And here is a giant of a man in every respect, Ali Lauatiti. And there is the Leeds Rhinos coach, Tony Smith. I wonder what sort of response he got. It's a penalty here against Huddersfield.
He's got them for offside, and well, Danny Ward made a right meal of this. Nothing wrong with the pass. Just had a little bit of a look to see what the oncoming traffic, but according to the official Carl Kirkpatrick, the traffic had come out of the 10-metre zone too early.
Penalty to Leeds then. John Sharp not displaying any emotion. The third Leeds penalty of the opening 6 3/4 minutes. This is Dunemann for Leeds.
Quick thinking there. You could see that Huddersfield, they were just sort of relaxing just for the split moment, and the halfback Dunemann took full advantage.
Danny Ward was being hunted down then by Gannon. But away from the tackle though. Here is Lauatiti again. Short ball to Sinfield.
Look forward for mine. The big fella Lauatiti seemed to hang on to it a little bit too long.
It was an important tackle by Ben ROARTY though, just the same. And here now is McDonald, the try scorer, and he's using his height to dump the ball back to Ferner, who gives it to Maguire. And Maguire gives it to Danny Ward, and Maguire back in support, and that's Sinfield.
Oh, straight in the air.
And the pass was wild, to say the least.
James Evans, I think it was. It came right out of the line. Oh, and he's got it for a knock on.
Well, I think it was not Evans, I think it was the one immediately after this. This is all right.
Oh, he's got him an accidental offside. It really should have been a penalty.
Well, now it is a penalty as we watch this, because someone has spoken out of turn to the referee.
That's also a slight problem, you know, because some of these players, Eddie, they do have a look at the screen, and then when they get disgusted and think the official has made the mistake, they just lose their cool. They can't afford to do it. Not surprisingly, the officials bringing the captain out.
I thought that call was right as well. That's all that matters, is that I think it's right. I'm not taking that nonsense off your players. All right, Jimmy Gannon in particular.
Well, Jim Gannon is the man who said something out of turn. And so here come Leeds to try and make something of that penalty. This is Danny Ward.
It was a great build-up though, wasn't it? The run around with Danny Ward and the standoff Danny Maguire. They're hunting.
Here's Maguire again. Gets the ball away to Ferner. Ferner keeps the movement going. And it takes two to bring him down. ROARTY was involved in the tackle again. Sinfield and Mathers.
Well, again, we see
Huddersfield having to scramble in defence.
We see the unusual thing, the run around yet again with Danny Ward.
Diskin's at dummy half, back it comes to Maguire, quick hands to David Ferner.
Great defence.
Ferner though gets the ball away to Senior, and this is Marcus Pye, and it's a stroll in for Marcus Pye. He's not given it yet though, he just wants to check the grounding and whether Marcus Pye's foot touched the whitewash before the ball was put to ground.
Well, I think he's lucky, Marcus Pye. I think he just gets it down before. This is very, very close. He's all right. TRY time, second for the Leeds Rhinos. It's going to be a ploy that Leeds are going to utilise throughout this game, and that's quick passing in the centre of the field and then confirmation to keep the ball out wide. They are sucking in the Giants' defence, and they were caught napping there.
Marcus Pye trying to improve the angle for the conversion to come because the try is given. Marcus Pye, 20 tries for the season now. He goes level with Sean Briscoe. 4 games, 7 tries for Marcus Pye, but a blank last week.
Quick hands. Bailey tried to smother, and soon as Senior got it, you knew it was going to be a try. Went pretty close. Great hands. If you come out of the line like Julian Bailey did, you've got to make sure that you smother them, make sure they can't offload. They failed to do that. This guy knows the way to the line, and on that occasion, just avoided one.
Well, Papua New Guinea international Marcus Pye, and he has certainly made his impression, hasn't he, on Leeds. 20 tries now for the season. Sinfield here with the conversion that Pye tried to improve the angle for and didn't pay the price, and Sinfield obliges with another successful kick. It's Huddersfield 0, Leeds 12. Phil Clark, the match has an air of inevitability about it.
It certainly does. There's a continuation also of Huddersfield's problems in recent weeks where, one, they've conceded too many penalties that's made life hard for them, and secondly, the defence near their own line hasn't been that good. Last week in playing against St Helens, the first 4 tries that they conceded were all conceded when their opponents were within 10 metres of their own try line. Leeds have shown an ability to get up close to the Giants' line and then obviously an ability to execute when they're there. Chris McKenna had one of his best games in ages last week for the Leeds Rhinos. He's got tremendous footwork, he was difficult to put down, and he seems to have refound his confidence.
Thanks, Phil. 11 minutes gone here. And another penalty, I think, coming in against Huddersfield. The touch judge is on from the far side.
Well, he's got Gannon just going over the top, but certainly goes high, does Gannon. Went right into the face. You see McKenna.
You heard it, Jim. Sort yourselves out.
Penalty then for Leeds again. They are certainly conceding plenty in the opening 11.5 minutes here to the Leeds Rhinos, and you can't do that. That's 5 penalties to Leeds. Huddersfield have yet to have any. Talking about figures on the board, by the way, latest news reaching me, indeed, the full-time score from the Halton Stadium, and Widnes have been beaten by the London Broncos, 24 points to 38. So London leapfrog the Vikings at the foot of the table. They are in real trouble now, Widnes. And Wakefield and Castleford is continuing, of course, so who knows what will happen at the foot of the table tonight.
Getting back to that Huddersfield Giant problem at the moment is indiscipline. And in the way that the form that the Rhinos have been in, they're going to be cut apart, I can assure you.
Good drive forward on this occasion is by James Evans again.
Nearly lost it then. Did well to hold on to it.
And big Jim Gannon, but that's a good solid hit by 3 forwards for the Leeds Rhinos then, right on the halfway line. And Costin with the kick, under pressure from McDonald. The kick goes over the top of Mathers and will skip its way over the dead ball line. John Sharp with problems here. And up here alongside us on the gantry, we have the Wigan coach, Dennis Betts, making his Sky Sports debut this year. Dennis, it's great to see you. Great game on Friday. This, as I said to Phil, it's just a little bit inevitable what might happen this afternoon.
I think you can just see it there, the indiscipline that we've talked about. It's in the Huddersfield side, both with the ball and without the ball. They just can't build any kind of sets. And when it's a day like it is today and the sun's shining, if you're defending all the time, it gets very hot. If you've got the ball and you're attacking, it's amazing how good you feel with the sun on your back. What Huddersfield need to do is just get the ball and keep hold of it and finish well.
Easier said than done, I suppose, on a day like this. Here are the results and final score from the Willows. Big smile from Dennis Betts, I can tell you. Salford 30, St Helens 20. Latest score, Wakefield running away against Castleford, 33-8. Latest score, that one. And confirmation of the final score from Widnes, 24-38. London leapfrogged the Widnes Vikings, but Castleford in all sorts of trouble against Wakefield. So, is that enough to keep London up, Steve-O?
You would think so, but there's still 12 points on offer. Got 6 more rounds to go after this one. So it's going to be a tough running for the Tigers, and all sides, including Widnes now, they really have got to lift themselves, and this time it's Leeds who give away a silly penalty. The one thing that Huddersfield really need to do also is to get good field position, just calm things down a little bit, get into the swing of it and hope to get a couple of sets of 6.
Dennis, I said you had a big smile on your face when the Salford result came in. Is that because you're a Salford boy or because Saints have lost?
Definitely a Salford boy. No, I think if you look at the table, it just helps us out a little bit there now because of the draw on Friday night. It keeps Saints just ahead of us on points difference now, and we're all level on the top end of that table of points.
And you've got to go to Bradford on Friday. That's
no, we
easy.
It doesn't get any easier this next few weeks.
Indeed not, and it doesn't get any easier here for Huddersfield because, as you saw there, and we will see Bradford Wigan on Friday, 7:30 Sky Sports 1, live on Sky, and also Salford against Widnes, and that's a pretty important match now. Next Saturday at 6, Sky Sports 1.
Well, the same tactics have been utilised by the Giants. They're mixing it when they look as though they're on the rack. They've done this all throughout this season. He got penalised for not playing the ball correctly. Senior, you've got to get up and play it. He put the ball down first. That is a penalty. Well, we saw Paul march just to irritate the big centre. And we often say it, but I'm sure Tony Smith will have the message out straight away. We do not get sucked in.
Now this is interesting because they've had so many penalties against them and they've hardly had any possession of the football. You would have thought that Huddersfield might have chanced their arm and kicked it into the corner and gone for a bit more than 2 points, but Brandon Costin wants to try and take the 2 on offer.
I think he just wants time to settle his players down as well. They know that they're going to get possession. I'm presuming that even if he misses going over the crossbar, that it will go dead in goal, so they will receive it either way from the kickoff or from the 20 metres. So maybe it's not a bad option by the skipper, just to cool it down.
Brandon Costin here. Next try will be his 50th in the British game, but this is the kick for 2 points. And it's drifted wide. So he slowed it down, but that's all. I wonder whether that was a decision on the field or a decision from that man in the stand.
Well, with all the technology that these coaches have these days, I really can't see why he couldn't get the message down. It's amazing how someone, if they do take the option, and I was talking to Denny Spetz before the kickoff in regards to, you know, I often feel that once a coach has done his bit, he should leave it to the captain out on the field of play.
Coach's decision, I'm told, Steve-O, to go for the 2 points. So John Sharp asking his men to get the 2. They failed to do that, but they have Darren Fleary on the field. And here is March, and it goes wide to Costin, and it goes further wide to Evans. Fleary coming on for Jim Gannon, who has been in hot water with the referee a couple of times already in this match. This is ROARTY, and John Grayshon was hunting the pass that never came. Now it's with March again, and here is Sean Penkovic. Finds Bailey, but Maguire stood his ground, made a good tackle.
That's been a wonderful improvement, you know, from Danny Maguire this season. His defensive work. Let's play on.
He was play on because the Leeds man tried to play at it with the boot first up before Marcus Bai grabbed it after it had been stabbed forward once again.
This is a kick through. You could see there that David Ferner definitely went for that football.
That's better from Costin and Grayshon. They stopped Marcus Bai in his tracks then. But again, they have a penalty going against them.
And you could see quite clearly that he was holding him down, tried to cod the referee that he was being held. A little doubt, trying to turtle him, which he does.
Well, they're trying to slow them down because Leeds are such a classy outfit, Steve-O, but on a day like this, do you think Mr. Kirkpatrick should be a little more lenient, bearing in mind the 31 degrees that Bill Arthur says is out there in the middle?
It doesn't matter whether it's freezing. He's got to do a job, and he's doing it.
Maguire and Ferner. He gets to halfway, David Ferner, formerly with Wigan, of course. He injured a knee against Wigan and he's missed the last 6. Diskin, McDonald. Difficult man to put down, 6'7", and that's what he does so well. Offloads to Diskin, who finds SINFIELD. Here is DUNEMANN. Back on his inside is Lauatiti. One of his trademark dump ball passes from Lauatiti, but it went to ground and McKenna was able to retain possession for his side.
A dump ball?
A dump ball.
What's that?
You saw it. Richie Mathers in at dummy half. SINFIELD. McDermott's the runner. Wrestle to the ground.
You can see the way that the Rhinos are trying to spin in the tackle as well and offload.
This is Maguire. Little dab through. Awkwardly bounced for Donlan, but he managed to get it, but good chasing from Ferner and Diskin.
Great positional work as well by Donlan.
Here's Marcus St. Hilaire, who learnt his trade really at Leeds. He was substitute in the 1998 Grand Final, by the way, Marcus St. Hilaire, for Leeds. And Leeds will be having eyes on Old Trafford again in 2004. But they have conceded the penalty here for McDonald's high shot.
Well, he's claiming as a big fella that he got the first hit on the chest. No doubt he went right up into the chin. So a little bit of indiscipline just creeping into this Leeds outfit. Not surprising, we know how Huddersfield can irritate the opposition. They have plenty to say, but that will not help their cause.
No, Fleary dropping the ball, and that was a mile forward.
What on earth was the fullback thinking about there?
I think he was waiting for the referee to blow to put the scrum down because he hadn't crossed the advantage line. Anyway, Marcus Bai now has, and it took a real struggle to get him down.
This is Fleary losing the football with no one in front of him. And then he just bobbled around, and I don't know why Richie Mathis decided to try to offload.
It's not the best from Huddersfield, Phil. What do you make of Leeds so far?
Maybe they're coming down at the moment just to Huddersfield's level, which is obviously not what we want to see. Huddersfield have toughened themselves up defensively, but you know, it's interesting that only Widnes and Salford have scored fewer tries this season than Huddersfield, so hence probably the reason why they're struggling somewhat. Really, they don't seem to have enough try scorers, and when they do have possession, they're not really holding on to it either. Big test here again now. Whenever Leeds get close to Huddersfield line, I think there's a try on store.
Oh, what Sinfield got the pass away, but I think March has knocked it forward. It's a knock on by March. He's not happy with it, but this is the way Mr. Kirkpatrick saw it.
Yeah, he lunged at it.
He's claiming that Diskin got the hand to it.
I think Diskin missed it first. Fingertips. He's in a good position as well, Carl Kirkpatrick. Getting back to that comment I made, Eddie, about the players. Did you see the way that Paul March pointed to the referee and then pointed to the screen and say, hey, mate, you have a look?
Heads in.
Leeds with the possession, on the bounce to Danny Maguire. Ball is fed out wide, and there's a chance here for Marcus Bai again. Still going Marcus Bai, back to Danny Maguire, barely reached him, fortunately for Huddersfield.
Great scrambling defence by the Giants, it had to be as well. Here's a big fella on the run.
McDonald again, flicks the pass. Held up.
Great
Good
work.
scrambling defence by Huddersfield.
Good work from Donlan as well. Fleary was involved.
Diskin, they're trying to give it width here. Leeds, they will do, because this is Francis Cummins. And Cummins keeps it alive, and that is a try for Chris McKenna. Now he touches down. His elbow hit the deck, but the ball didn't. He improved the angle. Tries given. McKenna. Well, it will be pleasing Tony Smith the way that Leeds are coping with this, the heat and everything else.
The ability to look and make sure that you can offload. That has been the difference between the two sides. See how the dummy running, which was McKenna in the first instance, but Cummins did exceptionally well. They were so tired with the Giants. Well, his arm hit the deck, but the ball didn't, as Eddie has mentioned, so made it better and easier for the conversion. But they were just tired, they're out on their feet, I'm afraid, for Huddersfield. It had been a brave effort. Quite a few times they've tried to do it and sort of scramble back in defence. But it looked inevitable, didn't it? As soon as they were getting the link away from the heavy traffic.
2 caps for Australia, Chris McKenna. He is the best of British. Kevin Sinfield clips the ball over the bar. Huddersfield 0, Leeds Rhinos 18. Well, Tony Smith, we saw a glimpse of him earlier on as we take a look at this try again. He turned Huddersfield from also-rans into a team to be respected. But I suppose at the end of the day, Steve-O, if it continues on like this, Tony Smith might just have a couple of mixed feelings, maybe.
I doubt it, Eddie. You're going to be pretty ruthless in this game, and I think Barry lost that.
But it hit the crossbar as it was coming into his arms and bounced dead.
He would have been looking into the sun as well. You see the lengthening shadows. Oh, nothing you do about that though, can you? Not to blame.
Dennis, what can Huddersfield do about all this?
They've just got to have a little bit more discipline. It's something that we talk about all the time, but I think it's already been mentioned. They've missed Stanley G with that little bit of something that can open the side up. Brandon Costin seems a little bit off today, but if you give this Leeds side opportunities, they're going to take them. The width that they play with in attack, it's just scary to the Huddersfield defence. So they're getting a lot of one-on-ones, which it makes it easy for them to offload the ball, and they're doing it at will at the moment. The front rowers are all offloading all the time in contact. Al Latiti's got it like it's a peanut in his hand. He's getting it away every single time. And up until this point, this is only the second time this game, with 25 minutes gone, that Huddersfield have been inside the Leeds 20.
Well, can they turn this possession into something here? March. Oh, it's a good ball. Stuart Jones here. And he bounces over, and I don't know whether he's actually grounded that properly or not. He certainly bounced, and after he bounced, the ball bounced. And wisely, the referee, Mr. Kirkpatrick, hands it on to the video referee again.
Now then, momentum's going there. No, he's lost it
anyway.
Ah, that's a shame. It would have been a little bit of quizzical action of the video referee to say, was that a second movement anyway? Would that have been a double movement? Either way, makes no difference. This is an OTRY. Put your house on this, Eddie. I think that also would have been deemed as a double movement.
Well, I think Jeff Berry, who's the video referee, knows that this is no try, but it's a question here now of how
to
they
restart
the game.
Yeah, he's knocked on, hasn't he? Definitely knocked on. Good effort, though. Well, the second rower, Stuart Jones, came onto the ball.
Well, a pat on the back for Stuart Jones. I think they know what the result is. It isn't a try, and Leeds will restart from the 20-metre line. But as Dennis Betts says, for only the second time in the opening 25 minutes, Huddersfield in the Leeds 20-metre zone. They got over the line on that occasion. Sadly, they dropped the ball. Well picked up by Ferner, that.
When you see the overwhelming advantage that the Rhinos have at the moment.
That stuck with SINFIELD somehow. He gets it away to Rob Burrow. Costin just flicked his ankle up.
Good move.
Turned him round.
Good move by Tony Smith to bring out the likes of Rob Burrow. You can see that Huddersfield. Oh, what a pass! Oh, he's called it forward.
Touch judge on the far side stood his ground. It was his call, I think. It looked all right from up here.
Certainly did.
Looks all right from down there.
Pretty hard to tell from that angle. You see from that angle it looks definitely forward.
Yes, it does. And the hands, they say, touch judge and referees look at the angle of the hands.
Yeah.
Yes, it looks a mile forward from there, but from up here on this side it didn't.
That's the reason why we do not go to the video referee for forward passes. It's so difficult with the different angles.
Well, Wakefield were in control of the match against Castleford, and Huddersfield are losing here against Leeds, so Huddersfield could easily be out of the top 6 tonight. Wakefield could take over, and Warrington will be hunting something as well at Odsall against the Bradford Bulls.
Well, they've got to spark, the Giants. They've got to get something up there, and we've got to start seeing a bit more running from the halfback, Paul March. He's just been farming the ball out from the dummy half throughout the first 27 minutes.
Costin to Mick Slicker. ROARTY, short ball to March. Here is Jones again. Good hands. March dabs it down looking for St. Hilaire. Oh, and Marcus Bai flicked it into the midriff of Richie Mathers, so it will be a goal line dropout here for the Rhinos. But at last Huddersfield are threatening.
Yeah, excellent little dink through.
Keep working, keep seconds down.
Paul March getting himself involved. That's a beautiful kick. Talk about too many cooks spoiling the broth. Lack of communication there. Marcus Bai, I don't know why, he used his right hand and was funneling the ball back into the dead in goal area, when really he should have been kicking it all the way through to Dewsbury.
39-12, Wakefield lead Castleford, who look like they will stay foot of the table despite all the drama that's happened elsewhere today, with Widnes losing to London and Salford beating the Saints. Oh, play on! David Ferner flicked the pass. This is March. He has Donlan with him. He also has Slicker, who has Costin, but that's a great tackle by McKenna. Slicker gives it width to March. Bailey wants it wide. There it is to Bailey, but it was dropped. Was it knocked on by Danny Maguire?
Certainly was. He took the gamble as well to the stand-off. They had the overlap, Huddersfield. A bit of a mistake there, lack of communication. David Ferner offloading the ball. This is where they lost the possession. And Furner claiming that he was from an offside position, but you can't be offside from there if it's open play. Great tackle from McKenna. Great stuff.
Another chance here for Huddersfield. That's Julian Bailey. Clattered to the ground by Matt Adamson. This is Darren Fleary. Short ball to ROARTY. Couldn't get the pass away. Jones was looking as though he was in on the right-hand side. They go the other way now then with COSTIN. And this is Nero.
Nice step as well. Second row nearly got through.
Penkovic to COSTIN.
Oh,
good defence from Leeds. Penkovic again. Oh, and helped further wide by James Evans. And Heffin O'Hare just dived over the top of the ball.
Oh dear. To O'Hare. Took the chance, didn't he? Not the best pass, you can't blame the winger.
Once you pass it, you've lost your advantage.
Evans knows it as well.
Referee just telling David Furner there, who is still complaining about the play being allowed to carry on. He said once he had passed it, he lost the advantage.
That's right.
No one relays, make the turn, hold the line.
Cummins to his feet on the half hour. Leeds in control of the match, but probably the best period of the game for the Huddersfield Giants thus far. Maguire.
Well, they're applying the pressure. This will be the thing that John Sharp was trying to get the message out to them early, is that if you're in this part of the field, you've always got that opportunity. We've already seen Leeds come out with a couple of errors.
And here's Matt Adamson. Matt Adamson, of course, who will be plying his trade in pastures new next year, will join Canberra with Matt Elliott and Jason Smith of Hull next year in 2005. WILLIE Poching won't, though. WILLIE Poching has agreed a one-year extension to his contract at Headingley. He'll be here in 2005, as will this fellow Matt Diskin.
Well, that's the type of thing that I'm calling upon for, you know, the like of Penkovic and Paul March, maybe to get into that dummy half area. You know, ask the questions. Oh, that's a knock on
by Donlan.
That's a shame. He did everything right, didn't he? Turned his back and tried to take it.
Phil, Huddersfield's best period of the match, but now they concede possession inside their own 20-metre zone.
Yeah, and a bit of bad luck there too for Donlan. Do you know, it's one player who he's actually covering for today. I think they're probably missing amongst the several who are out, but Paul Riley, the fullback, really, he is, you know, invariably the top meter gainer in the side. He's one of those players who just gets involved in so much action, and they do miss him really in taking the side forward. He's also a player who can find his way over the try line, an awkward player to play against, and they need somebody to fill his role out there right now.
Sinfield and Matt Adamson drives it in. Donlan stood his ground, and he was helped out by Stuart Jones in the tackle. This is Maguire. Maguire short ball, quick hands, Marcus Bye.
Get out, Darren.
Maguire waits the dummy half again. Spins the ball to centre field. Sinfield dancing through them, but March got to him just.
4 relays, get out, fellas.
They're 2 metres away again, Leeds.
Will Diskin go on his own?
Well, there's all sorts of pushing and shoving going on at the play of the ball there. This is Burrow. Burrow to Mathers. Picked up by McKenna. Gets out to the tackle. Loses the ball.
Play on. That went backwards.
It is play on. No, it isn't. It's no advantage. It's the knock on. And it's Huddersfield's heading ball.
A bit scrappy there. McKenna really should have held on to this football. He was looking to offload, but when you're 18 points up, you don't need to. You don't have to go through panic stations. Went backwards.
Well, it went backwards, but the referee said that was the knock on by McKenna. I think that came off Heffin O'Hare.
Yep.
Was it a deliberate attempt at the ball? The referee says no.
I think the official thought that McKenna was trying to offload anyway, so he lost control. Pretty difficult. Having said that, I think Mr. Kirkpatrick is having one of his best games I've seen this season. He's on top of everything.
This is Bailey, tackled by Maguire and Senior. And Gannon.
Gets through a lot of work, doesn't he, Jim Gannon?
He does, and news of some injuries for Leeds, which is a story in itself these days. They have been pretty injury clear this year. But Bill, what's the news?
Well, it's a bit of a worry for Leeds because Ali Lauatiti came off a short time ago. It looked like a regular substitution, just taking a breather from the heat, but he's also now got a huge ice pack on his left knee. Now, whether that's just to ease a little bit of a problem he's got at the moment, but he's sitting things out at the moment. I think one or two of his teammates on the sidelines there just wondering whether they can get a hold of some of that ice as well.
Well, you can see the ice there, Eddie, but if you do really have a big problem with injuries like that, you usually keep your legs straight. So if it's bent, then I really think that it won't be too bad.
Dennis, did you have any inclination of Ali Lauatiti when you were at the New Zealand Warriors in your spell there? Was he part of the scene or not?
He was a junior coming through. He played a very young age, played for the New Zealand junior teams, and he was a sensational player. I think we're seeing now he'll be better again next year. He's still just warming into it, but the skills he's got are outstanding, and as he gets a little bit fitter and a little bit stronger and gets used to their system a bit more, he's going to be a sensational asset to them throughout these next few weeks and also into the finals.
Absolutely so. Talking of the Kiwi junior sides, news today from North Harbour Stadium in Auckland. The England under-18 academies have beaten the junior Kiwis by 22 points to 20. They were 14-0 up at half-time, but then they were losing 20 points to 14 with 20 minutes to go. They scored a try in the last minute by Dave Doherty of the Leeds Rhinos. It was his second try of the game. It came in the last minute, and the man of the match was Lee Smith of Leeds, and it's his 18th birthday today. So congratulations to the England Academy under-18s, coached, of course, by Wigan's under-21 coach and good friend of Dennis Betts, Dave Lyon. Well done to the youngsters.
That's a tremendous result, isn't it? Especially for the future of rugby league in this country. We've got so many good young kids coming through as well.
Here's one of them, Richie Mathers. He is only 20 years of age, this young man. And he's been one of the outstanding players in this Leeds side all year.
Well, I'm not sure that Keith Senior would have been happy with the offload there from Poching. That really had a big red cross, and it disking away again.
And he finds Poching, who ducks under one challenge, almost gets away from March, but March stuck to him like a limpet. And March is, well, I think the referee, and you say that he will not take anything into account because of the heat and the humidity. If that be the case, he's got to start producing that card, hasn't he?
What do you think?
This has gone on for the last 37 minutes.
Well, there's a run from Diskin, but you can see there that Paul March, the rule states once you've done the tackle, you've got to move sideways, not go over the top of the man.
A lot of the penalties that Huddersfield have conceded in this match have come because of messing around at the play of the ball. That's a risky pass from Barry McDermott. That won't please Tony Smith.
Oh, he's gone right into the knee of Richie Mathers.
March it is.
Oh, that would hurt. Oh, right in there into the rib cage.
I think he might have caught his head with it. He did. Caught the side of his head with his knee as well.
The first impact is in the rib cage. You can see there as the studs have gone right through. Well, maybe the saving grace for the tough half-back Paul March is that with it being very hot and solid conditions out there, he would have had short studs.
Here's Penkovic. Good movement here from Stuart Jones. Gets the ball away to Penkovic again, and McDermott has missed the tackle. Mathers doesn't.
Great play. Good support as well.
Now a penalty for Keith Senior. The referee's got to call the
he's got to
captains
do it
together,
now.
surely.
Yeah. Get them both over. Come on, Carl. Quick tap. They've taken it. Ben Roarty running through. Nearly caught Leeds then.
What would Huddersfield give for a try right before half-time? Gannon would put them in the match a little bit. It would give them some spirit for the second half, maybe. Would give John Sharp something positive to talk about. Penkovic, wide it goes to Costin. Back on the inside. Oh, and it found its way to Slicker somehow. And Mick Slicker held up short. Sinfield and Mathers scrambling well in defence. Here is Paul March, fully recovered. Oh, and the pass to Bailey wasn't good. It's Maguire! Now has Maguire got the legs of St. Hilaire? He's got Marcus by anyway. That came off St. Hilaire. Marcus Bai back to Maguire. And Maguire
has taken the wrong option. He has just bombed a try. Marcus Bai, they combined twice. He went for the outside. Beep, beeps away!
Rob Burrow saw a hole. Mick Slicker couldn't tackle him because he would have been offside. And Maguire using his pace. Maybe, just maybe, he saved Maguire's blushes there by getting over for the try. Rob Burrow. 40 tries now for Leeds for the little man.
Well, it all broke down, didn't it? It was a bad pass, scooped up by Danny Maguire. You see that it just got a hand to it, so therefore it was carry on. This is where Maguire should have gone and back on the inside. I don't think Marcus St. Hilaire would have stopped the winger Marcus Bai, but it didn't matter, did it? Look at this guy. First gear, second gear, third gear. I'm in overdrive. Beep, beep, is in. We mentioned the fact that Tony Smith, it was a great move to bring a guy like this out. Just goes underneath him, doesn't he? Whoa. It was a very poor pass. Julian Bailey had no chance of getting it. Maguire, plenty of speed. Good work though by Marcus St. Hilaire, but they couldn't get anywhere this fella, could they? Cheeky forward.
Rob Burrow with a try, a very, very important weapon to bring off the bench, Rob Burrow. Not the biggest, but a massive heart. 21 years of age, England A international. Kevin Sinfield, Great Britain international. This for a 24-0 lead to half-time. Easy for Sinfield, not really tested with his goal kicks so far today. And Huddersfield 0, Leeds 24. And a comprehensive demolition of the Giants so far by Leeds. There's the last try scorer, the latest try scorer. McDonald started it after only 4 minutes. Then it went by McKenna and Burrow. Sinfield's added the goals to all the tries. And Leeds in total control here against the Huddersfield Giants, who are in danger tonight of slipping out of the top 6 because Wakefield are going well against Castleford. Half-time here in glorious weather. Maybe a little too hot for the players, but they have produced, the Leeds Rhinos have anyway. They lead by 24 points to 0. And Tony Smith, well, he turned Huddersfield, as I say, into a team that no longer are also Rams. Just 2 defeats for him in Super League this year. He did it tough on this ground. They were relegated, he was promoted, and then he got 11 wins for Giants back in the top flight last year. And they are still 2 short of that total to surpass their best ever Super League season, which was last year. But when you talk about try scorers, here is the game's leading try scorer, Danny Maguire, new Super League record holder with 29. And would you believe he has actually rattled up 53 in 66 appearances for Leeds. Absolutely fantastic, Danny Maguire. Although a lot of people would say that maybe he should have passed the ball wide for Marcus Bai in the first half. As it was, Rob Burrow saved his blushes. Brandon Costin gets us underway and immediately pumps the ball out on the fall. It's a penalty to Leeds on halfway. The second half has not started very well for the Huddersfield Giants. And that wasn't just a couple of feet over the dead ball line, it was a couple of meters. Well, it's a very, very high kicking tee that Costin uses, and because of that, obviously got a little bit too much height on it, and it sailed over the dead ball line. Not the start John Sharp would have wanted. Here come Leeds. This is Adamson, and he was nearly over. Costin had to stand his ground. Now it's with Danny Ward. A chance here for Leeds to post points early and really put this game to bed. Diskin waits the dummy half. McDermott is the runner. McDermott! Back to Diskin. Oh, an interception possibility for Paul March, but he knocked the ball on underneath his own sticks. It isn't the greatest start for Huddersfield in this second half.
That's a shocker, but he had to take the gamble because he knew that once they offloaded that ball, that's a big fella, Barry McDermott that their defence was all at sea. So he took the gamble, didn't pay off.
Burrow to Maguire, showed it to Senior, gave it to Marcus Bai, comes back for the return, and there's number 30 for Maguire. 30 for the season now for Danny Maguire, and the possibilities are endless for this young man, not only in his career but also this season. Just how many tries will Danny Maguire end up with? 30 for the campaign, courtesy of that gift fed to him on a plate by Marcus Bai.
And no doubt Marcus Bai has a bit of a grin and saying, that's what you should have done. Never mind, he's there. Great support play. Spun it out wide, through the dummy, then on the angle. Never stopped though, did he? A lot of younger players perhaps, once they'd offloaded, they would have left it for the winger, but not this fella. Look, he does the loop, back on the inside. That's great awareness. That is great. So, he took another route, didn't he? It was a bypass. And Maguire in for the try.
Very good. Danny Maguire, his 30th try of the season. And that was the corner, of course, that he scored in that memorable Cup semi-final of last year to win the Cup semi-final against St Helens in extra time, Danny Maguire. And then he suffered, I was going to say, it's not the humiliation, it was certainly the disappointment of being left out for the final itself. And Leeds lost to the Bradford Bulls. I don't think if Leeds get to the grand final, if he's fit, Danny Maguire will be left out this year. Sinfield with the kick. This is his most difficult of the afternoon. Faultless so far. And faultless still. A little kiss off the posts. 30 points to 0. Leeds, Steve-O, really are running hot.
They certainly are. They're hungry. They've got good quality right the way through this team, and none better than these two. By Maguire showed. He reads the game ever so well, doesn't he, Danny Maguire?
Horror start for Huddersfield. Great start to the second half for Leeds. And the 18th man today. This shows just how strong Leeds are at the moment. CHEV Walker not playing. He's talking to Bill.
CHEV, this good to watch?
Yeah, definitely. The boys have come out again the second half and started the way they finished off, really. They're all pushing up and working hard for each other, especially with conditions. And the forwards are just laying the platform, really.
You're just saying there seems to be so much confidence in the side at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. It's showing with the tries that they've scored, really, today. Everybody just seems to have a lot of time on the ball, really, and I think that comes with confidence. The fact that we're being able to take them on.
Any danger from Huddersfield? They had a purple patch towards the end of that first half. Can you see them threatening?
Yeah, definitely. You can't write anybody off this year, and we're trying to work and get to his goals, really. And his goal probably you'll end up seeing in the result in the end, like. But all being well, we should get to it. So, yeah.
Thanks, CHEV.
No worries.
Huddersfield 30-0 down. They have got 3 new faces coming in next year. Brad Drew from Canberra, Michael De Vere from Brisbane, and Chris Thorman is returning from Parramatta, the Englishman. So they're not resting on their laurels despite a very promising 2004, which sadly for them has come off the rails just recently. John Sharp building for next year, but still hoping that maybe he will guide this team to their first ever playoff spot.
Well, it's obvious that John Sharp realised that he hasn't got the likes of Stanley Jean out there, and they need someone to just give them a little bit of spark. I'm afraid they're lacking that at the moment. Oh, great work from Richie Mathers. He really has come of age, this fellow.
Leeds will have to run this ball out off their own line if they can. Here's the positional sense of Mathers again, and he had work to do, didn't he, to get the ball back over that try line so as it wouldn't be a drop out from underneath the sticks.
Got great balance as well. You know, all the great players over the years, they seem to be able to just work within their own time limit. No, they create space. They don't seem to be able to get tackled. It's just a gift, perhaps.
Just wonder how that Challenge Cup semi-final defeat earlier in the season has affected the Huddersfield Giants, particularly on this ground, because they've only won twice at home from 6 since the semi-final. You know, it was a demoralising defeat in many ways.
Well, I think the fact that they have had so many key players out with it, no Stanley Jean, no Riley, it's not easy for them. You know, they're a good workman side, like side. They dig deep. They'll never throw the towel in. They'll always keep going to the end. Don't worry about that. And there's some rough, tough players out there.
Yes, I think, Phil Clark, they are definitely missing Stanley Jean, the Giants.
Yeah, missing one or two things. I was just thinking at half-time too about the Leeds' defensive effort, really. Obviously, they'll be sat quite happy with the fact that the Giants haven't put a point on them at this stage. Last week against a team not even in the top 6, they conceded 28 points, and of course being the Wakefield side. Now, I don't want to take anything away from Wakefield, who are playing very well, and I'm sure Tony Smith and the Leeds players themselves wouldn't be happy with that. They'd know that there's no way they could get into the playoffs with that sort of defensive effort, and it's interesting at times when the Giants have tried to take the ball forward, the speed with which they're hit by the guys in the white jerseys has made life even more difficult for them.
And here's Maguire again trying to jink his way over for try number 31, but the call over his shoulder from Paul March was probably Danny, I'm here, and he was, and he picked it up there like a gift.
Great work. Off back Paul March, gimme, and he got it.
Phil Clark talking about the defence that Leeds are working on and have worked on this year. If they keep Huddersfield with a big 0 against their name this afternoon, they will record their 4th clean sheet of the season. That's no mean feat.
That's a wonderful feat, isn't it? And I'm sure that Tony Smith would have said that in the second half. Okay, we've got this game virtually wrapped up. So I must say they had 18-point lead down in London, did Leeds, and they squandered it away. They can't afford to put the cue on the rack yet. Okay, 30-0, you think they've got this, but it's the second half. They've got something to aim for, and that is to make sure that the Giants don't cross the whitewash.
Mr. Kirkpatrick has just fallen over on his bottom, which is why there's a great ironic cheer from the Leeds supporters and the Huddersfield fans here. Ended up on his backside. Nobody tackled him. DUNEMANN. Andrew DUNEMANN trying to take on Paul Smith. DUNEMANN was carried off in London with a neck brace, and the game was halted for 6 minutes, but he played last week and he's playing here again today. He's a gritty character, Andrew DUNEMANN, isn't he?
Well, you've got to be tough in this game, and not many crybabies.
Kick from SINFIELD was good, and it means St Helens got to run it out. He makes 10 metres before DUNEMANN and Rob Burrow clatter him.
There's one aspect of the side that Tony Smith would be very pleased with. There's been the tactical kicking from Kevin SINFIELD. So many occasions he's found the ground, the ball bouncing in between the fullback and the winger, and that's all you really need from your kicker.
Dennis, the Leeds Rhinos, they're after, I think, by the tenacity of their tackling, they're after keeping Huddersfield pointless.
Having done it 3 or 4 times this year is a great feat, and it shows a side that's not only attacking with great flair but defending with great vigour as well. Like they have a great belief in themselves at the moment, and they know they can defend, which gives them the freedom to be able to play with the ball.
Yes, they've scored twice as many tries as the Giants in Super League 9. When you talk about their try-scoring exploits, they are the leading try scorers and point scorers.
Well,
137 tries before today and 768 points.
It's a little bit instinctive. I know that Maguire throws that ball away when he makes the break there, but you look at Danny Ward, they're taking the ball forward. Everybody's always looking to push into the next hole, making themselves available, and it becomes instinctive. Maguire turns and expects to see a white shirt, and 9 times out of 10 this year there's been a white shirt there, and that's why they're scoring so many points.
I know you said at half-time that you haven't conceded top spot to Leeds yet, but are all the rest of you in the top 6, are you under the belief that perhaps this is the team you have to stop if you want to win the grand final this year?
Well, everybody will be looking at positioning the field and what's going to happen. There's
a little break and a knock-on. It's not Huddersfield's day. Back to the point, Dennis.
Yeah, we've got one eye on them and know that they're there to be beaten, and they're leading the table, the setters this year, the pace of the game. But we know that when we finish in the table, it all starts again. Come the playoff time, you've just got to keep winning. You've just got to turn up week in, week out and play the best you can play.
Well, the referee here has given head and feed to Huddersfield.
Well, it was certainly touched by a Leeds player, but it certainly was knocked on as well. Cummings definitely got a fingertip to it.
But it was going backwards.
It was going backwards, so that's still a knock on. Yeah, you see, just a touch. It's still a knock on. It's play on as far as I'm concerned. It wasn't forward by Leeds.
It was back towards Cummins' own try line.
And you can't blame the man with the whistle. It's the touch judge on this near side that's made the boo-boo.
This now is Paul White for Huddersfield. They've made 14 handling errors. Leeds 8. That presumably went down on the computer as the 8th. They were a little hard done by then. Here's White again, and now Costin. And Costin up the middle. Now then, Costin will make sure that Leeds do not record another clean sheet against them. Costin with the try.
And
but
what a try.
The try was magnificent, but it should never have been head and feet to Huddersfield at the scrum, surely.
Well, you take your luck, don't you, if it comes your way, but that was sheer class. This is a knock on. You can see it's knocked back there. That should have been play on. No doubt about the winger. O'Hare certainly knocked on, but from that scrum win, they got the possession. But look at this, 1 step, 2 step, in and out. That is sheer quality. Takes a pretty classy player to stand up Richie Mathers as easy as this. But this guy is all quality. Oh, that is classic. Richie Mathers just was left there with a goldfish look on his face. Oh.
And the
quality.
Extras added by Paul White. 6 points to Huddersfield, 30 to Leeds. And Brandon Costin has just registered his 50th try in the British game. 50 tries in the Australian competition as well, with Souths, Wests, the Roosters and the Raiders in 7 years between 1993 and 2000. And of course, a member of the Bradford Bulls that won the grand final last year. He's done it all, hasn't he, Brandon Costin? And that's the half-century of tries in this country too.
Well, you go a long way to see a better individual try than that. That was just sheer class.
It's a shame that there's a 30 points alongside Leeds' name and just the 6 for Huddersfield. It was a great try from Costin, in danger of going almost unnoticed. But is that the spark that Huddersfield were looking for?
Well, we've kept mentioning it, haven't we? You know, they're missing Riley, they're missing Stanley Jean. They've got no one really out there to apply that spark until that magical moment from the standoff Brandon Costin. And it was pure magic.
Not too far away from here next weekend, there is a tag tournament taking place for Matt King. Of course, Matt King is the young man from London who sadly is badly injured. And I might be looking for a new co-commentator, because I see that you are on the one of the sides with James Lowe's next week.
I think that James is on the opposition.
Oh dear.
That is what is requested, so I've heard. I'm looking forward to it.
A tag tournament, it's at Halifax, and it all starts, I think, at around about 2 o'clock and goes on through till 7. But Steve-O, don't get yourself injured, because I think we have a date at Salford next Saturday night. Knock on by Penkovic.
First knock on by Leeds, though. Yeah, I hope everybody does turn up. It's not a pretty sight to see me running around in shorts, but it is for a good cause, so come along. Jeer and cheer if you like, but bring your money.
Jimmy Lowe's and Steve-O, eh? It's Costin for Huddersfield, and here now is Donlan, tackled by his opposite number, Chris McKenna. You know, I think we just might send a camera along to that event next week, and you might just see the results in boots and all. Oh, hang on, this could be a try. This could be a try for James Evans. Referee has given it on to the video referee to have a look at.
Well, effing O'Hare, he threw his body through the air. He certainly flicked it back, but he's got to make sure as he touched the corner flag first. That's what he's looking for. Video referee will have to take it frame by frame on this one. There's a kick from Costin. They're onside. That's fine. That's fine, no worries about that. Back foot from effing O'Hare, takes a wicked bounce. Now then, this is going to be a try. This is an absolute wonderful effort by Heffing O'Hare, and the man, James Evans, has scored the try. This is try time. This is TRY. Unusual. Well, surely you can see quite clearly that he flicks the ball back, leaves it before he touches the corner flag. Watch, frame by frame. Hand to ball, hand release, then touches the flag. TRY, so simple. And Evans will be credited with the 4 points. Do we have a comeback?
Well, Jeff Berry's the video referee. He's taking a long, hard look at all this. He obviously is not as convinced as you are.
Well, he barely touches it for a second. Right. There it is. It's gone by the time his foot hits the corner. It's got to be... Well, I can't believe this. This is try time.
Well, maybe Jeff's left his glasses at home, because we've seen it now about 12 times.
Well, get the kettle on. We may as well make a cup of tea.
Well, is that it, I wonder? Is Mr. Berry
try time
happy with that? Well, it would appear so. Now then, what's the result, Mr. Berry? Try's given. And they were just checking out whether there was a forward pass, but I don't think that was at all on. Mind you, you can't go for a forward pass.
So that doesn't enter the equation.
Well, that was what was just whispered in my ear.
Well, I hope it wasn't the video referee that whispered in your ear.
No, it wasn't.
Thank you. And that is a good try. Wicked bounce. Nothing that Mathers could do about it, but never say die attitude. James Evans, great work from O'Hare.
And Costin to try and add the extras. Just the wrong side of the posts. But credit Huddersfield with the fight back. 10 points in this second half.
No doubt about it, was there?
No. And as you say, they can't look for forward passes anyway. So
no.
What all that was about, I don't know.
Bang. That is as clear as my bald head.
Try is given to James Evans. Well, he started 2004 with Canberra, just 5 appearances, a couple of tries. Matt Elliott alerted John Sharp by email about his availability. John Sharp said, come on board. And James Evans has just scored the second try for the Huddersfield Giants in this second half.
Bit of a problem for the referee, Carl Kirkpatrick.
Needing a little bit of, well, maybe a new battery in his walkie-talkie system. Yeah, that's it. I thought it had gone quiet for a moment.
Very uncomfortable, you know, for the officials, and fair credit to them. They don't complain, they get on with it, they know it's important, and it is important.
I think he's back in communication now with everybody. And Huddersfield have registered their second try of the match. 10 points for them, but 30 for Leeds, and SINFIELD kicks off high and hanging. Well, we were talking not long ago about Leeds keeping Huddersfield down to 0 points.
And then I also added to that, remember when Leeds went to London, they had an 18-point lead, put the cue on the rack, and we put the mocker on them. Fair credit to Huddersfield. We said, and they've shown all throughout this season, that they will not throw the towel in. They're grafters.
And I think that that has been at the heart of a lot of what you have been saying as well, Phil, throughout this match.
It is. I think maybe the other difference is they've tried to play the last sort of 20 minutes with far greater speed, and they've brought Paul White on, who's gone into the acting halfback position. A lot of the wingers like Heffing O'Hare and other players have got involved around there, playing with a lot more speed around the ruck areas. Probably caused a few problems for the tiring Leeds forwards in the centre of the field defensively. They've had some joy on the back of it, but one of these games you tend to get the feeling now Leeds after a lull will come back. Oh
Maybe
no.
not. It's Paul White again. Well, they have just mentally closed down Leeds at the moment. And here comes GRAYSHON.
Well, at 30 points to 10, why on earth do you want to try to offload when you're deep in your own half? Tony Smith will be extremely disappointed with this.
Penkovic to COSTIN. COSTIN will bring it back down the centre of the field. He finds ROARTY. Now they have men on the overlap wide. This is GRAYSHON. GRAYSHON in field. Oh, and it bounced kindly for Leeds and straight to SINFIELD. Yes, straight to Kevin SINFIELD.
Well, they were very fortunate there, Leeds. That could have very well have been a try. Quick hands. Good work, though, by Marcus Pye. It had to be. Good job that the skipper, Kevin SINFIELD, was just buzzing around.
Well, that would have made it interesting, wouldn't it, with 20 minutes to go?
Well, Leeds really do have to just settle themselves down. We've seen on a couple of occasions in the second half where they've just been trying to offload when they don't need to.
It's with DUNEMANN and wide to McKenna, and Efin O'Hare was hunting the mistake again, but they got it away to Lauatiti. Lauatiti takes the tackle low down. It was Nero. Round the top was O'Hare. Lauatiti didn't like it. This is DUNEMANN. Huddersfield have upped the gear. Huddersfield have certainly stepped it up a bit. Maguire now, under pressure from Gannon. Shape to kick, is now running it with Poching and Senior. And Marcus Pye's on his outside. Senior. Not the best pass. It finds its way to Maguire. Maguire flicks it. It's back to BURROW. And Burrow attacking the line again. McKenna to Cummins. I think he might have touched the corner flag. I think Cummins might have just flipped the corner flag here.
I think you're right, Eddie. Great work, though, wasn't it?
There was also a knock-on or no to be judged on in the build-up to this Francis Cummins decision that
now,
the video referee Jeff Berry has to make.
As a Leeds player flat out, I think it's Danny Maguire. Looking through the team, yeah, it looks to me as though Maguire has taken a big knock. Just slipped awkwardly, didn't he? Costin came on the back of it. Ferner looking to get away. It was then the run from Burrow.
Well, they might be happy with that. Here we go. This is the important moment. Watch the corner post.
He certainly went low, Cummins. No try.
No try.
Yep.
Well, he doesn't need another look at that. And the try is denied, and it's a 20-metre restart. That would have put Huddersfield to bed. All this comeback would have been for naught then.
Great work, though, wasn't it, by the centre, James Evans. We talk about the fact that, you know, this Huddersfield side, they dig deep.
They do. Maybe they have just given Leeds too much of a start, but who knows? Never say never in the Super League. 20 minutes to go or thereabouts. Leeds injury news, Bill.
Eddie, you saw Danny Maguire down there being treated. It looked like he jarred his left shoulder when he landed in the build-up to that last Leeds attack. He's still out there, but I just wonder whether Leeds will be keeping a close eye on him in the closing 18 minutes or so here. Wouldn't really want to run any risk of him picking up serious damage.
No, he's still there, though, as you can see. A dummy half as Keith Senior plays the ball. WILLIE Poching. Great run from Poching. This is why they've offered him a new contract and why he signed it for next year. The big Samoan. Ferner. Costin stood his ground, helped out by Gannon.
And it's always a good ploy by the Rhinos coach Tony Smith to bring on the likes of WILLIE Poching.
Oh dear, and Ferner looks like
got a problem, yeah.
The knee maybe has been jarred again. He's been out for 6.
He's not well. He must have felt it go.
McDonald here now for Leeds. Again standing, they have to clamp the ball down if they can, the defenders, and they do. And I think Ferner is going to leave the field here as Burrow in dummy half gives it to Maguire. And Maguire, well, he was almost through. That was a good tackle there by White. Here is Burrow. It's DUNEMANN. McKenna wants it wide. DUNEMANN obliges. And it's claimed by Efin O'Hare, the Welsh international.
Just bobbled a little bit, but he got to it before McKenna could.
Well, Dennis Betts, Leeds have just clocked off, haven't they?
Well, you've got to give credit really to Huddersfield. Their intensity level's gone up. The never say die attitude that John Sharp's put into them is really coming to the fore. And I think they've been like this all year, but they came out of the blocks very, very quick and set a standard. And this has been reward for that. But what they do to now is a reward for how hard they've worked throughout the year. And Leeds at the moment, you just can't change the way you play. They can't stop forcing the ball, they can't stop trying to beat a side by playing rugby all the time. And they're making errors and they're giving a little bit of an opportunity to Huddersfield.
This is Paul Smith, off the bench. Now it's Darren Fleary. Now he would like a big game against the club that he played 127 times for, including that 98 grand final, as I say. Jones.
Another advantage of being is that the Giants have suddenly started to not give away silly penalties, playing a lot more constructive, and they are chancing their arm. I know they waited until it was 30-0 before they started to do that.
And here's O'Hare again. Quick on his feet, this fellow. Good ball too. Donlan, Fleary and Jones. On the bounce, it finds its way to Ben ROARTY. Back on the inside, and here comes Smith.
They're cutting him apart. Running the angles. Got to be a kick, surely.
It's with Paul White. He's made a big difference, as Phil Clark said. Oh, Costin just stretching for it, knocks the ball forward.
Well, he wanted to stand out wide, trying to give the impression that they were going to run with this ball. Just couldn't get it. Always better with two hands, and he knows it.
And the 15 minutes of the match remaining, and both sides have just 2 changes available to them. So they're going to have to do it tough between now and the end of the game. By the way, that tag tournament is at Halifax at the new Shea next Saturday. I think I actually gave you the venue. It starts at 2 o'clock, and Steve-O's up against James Lowe's for a very good cause, for Matt King. Quarter of an hour remaining here. Leeds coasting, or so it seemed, but suddenly Huddersfield asking a question or two, and eventually over the shoulder of Lauatiti that ball made its way into the arms of Cummins. Last tackle, they're not to halfway yet, Leeds. DUNEMANN hoists the midfield bomb. Donlan is after this, and he claims it. Takes the tackle from Maguire and DUNEMANN. Phil Clark, do you sense that there really is chance for Huddersfield in the next quarter hour?
I don't think there's a chance for Huddersfield to come back and win the game, but probably what there is a chance is for other sides in the top 6 to think, hey, we're not really too scared about playing against this Leeds side. Although they're top of the league and they've scored more tries than anybody else, when they go through one of these phases where they just look a very, very average side, a 10-15 minute period, I think everybody gives them a bit of hope and thinks they can take them on, really, because they don't look that special, and maybe that's the worry for them.
Here's Paul March. It was a messy play, the ball. A great offload, though, to ROARTY. Scrambling defence from Senior. Last tackle, March to White. Wide it goes to COSTIN. He's dropped another. And Leeds have now dropped it. Will he play the first?
Well, he'll have to, won't he? He'll have to
I'm
come
not
back.
sure. He passed the advantage line. I think it's Huddersfield's head and feet. It is. He got over the line, see?
Well, as soon as he offloaded, I suppose, he negated the first one, which is there from Costin.
Well, Dennis Betts made a very good point, didn't he? That Leeds simply cannot help themselves. They have to try and beat sides, Dennis, with aplomb and just keep this ball alive. It's the way they play.
It's the way they play. They're 30 points to 10 up. Tony Smith is probably sat there in the stand, and he's probably thinking, yeah, this is what I asked him to do. It's caused a lot of rewards this year, but out on the field, he's got to start pulling themselves together.
Oh, but Marcus Sainter there has got to start catching the ball, and John Sharp knows that.
I think Huddersfield are the same way as well. I think they've had opportunities and they've just not been able to convert them to points. I think John Sharp will feel a little bit hard done to come the end of this game as well, at losing so badly at the moment.
Well, Dennis, look at that hairstyle. Look what's sitting next to you. Why on earth would you risk that, and why would you want to be a coach?
Have you been a coach, Steve? Have you been a coach?
Sadly, yes.
Well,
Yes.
well, I'm lucky. In my family, everybody's got hair right the way through, so I should be okay.
Burrow, Lauatiti. I must say that when they are on blob, Leeds, they are a very, very attractive side to watch.
Yeah, but you don't win anything by just being attractive. Seriously, there's got to be a ruthlessness about them. And all right, I know it's difficult when you're 30 points up and the opposition hasn't scored a point yet, but you tend to go into individual play rather than play as a unit, as a team. But there's got to be times when you've got to make sure that when you're out on the paddock, say, hey, come on, we've got to toughen up here. We've got to do everything right. We've got to make sure we've got possession. That's the same sort of thing. They were lucky to get away with that. But why on earth would they want to try to force the pass?
Poaching was going down and flicked the ball, and Marcus Bai actually had his back to the tackled player, and he thought there was going to be a play the ball. They got away with it, but the kick downfield has arrived at O'Hare.
But why do it? There is no need for it. You know, as I say, if you're going to just dissect the opposition, there are times, and you wait until you get into a good position where you can just turn them. Not try to just do it every time you've got the football in your own half.
Marcus St. Hilaire for Huddersfield. The big problem traditionally has been winning on this ground. They've only won 28% of their home Super League matches. It's a good kick though from Costin. It's gobbled up by Cummins, who finds Mathers. March is on his back. Mathers unhappy with March's attention. Ooh, McKenna, he rode that tackle.
Well, we know they're a niggling side, Huddersfield. That's how they play. A lot of verbals to the opposition. You've got to show how mature you are as a player and also as a team. And Leeds sometimes just forget that.
Adamson. Diskin at dummy half. Infield to McDonald, he lost it. Knock on. And that's another, anyway, from Ward. Some more injury news, and probably, is it about Dave Furner, Bill?
It is, Eddie, and it's just taken the shine off this second half, really, for the Leeds Rhinos. Everything, the way the game has just drifted away from them a bit, and now David Furner's problem, which is, by the sound of things, a recurrence of that ligament problem he had, and which has kept him out recently. He's suffered some sort of recurrence, and as you can see from the expression on his face, he really is unhappy about that, and that was the incident when the problem occurred.
Funny enough, it wasn't the knee that hit the deck, was it? And the Leeds were saying before the match, Matt Adamson anyway, that it was very, very hard, the pitch here in Huddersfield today.
No, the big problem there was that he just twisted it. And when you got, you've had knee surgery and so many problems in there, cartilage, ligaments, once they tweak.
Sorry end to the match for David Furner, Phil.
Yes, it is, and I think if he is unable to play, that would be a massive loss. He's sort of the engine, really, I think, in the Leeds side. The gloss and the glamour comes from players like Lauatiti and Maguire and those guys, but really David Furner is crucial to what they do in the centre of the field, both in attack and defence. A lot of the work that very often goes unseen. They'll miss him if he doesn't play.
Remarkable in the research prior to this match. It became apparent that with 7 rounds to go, and I made a note of it here, Leeds have hardly got an injury problem to worry about. Well, they have now, and there was a problem for Lauatiti earlier, remember.
It's not going to be easy for them. It's what happens at the business end, isn't it? You've got to make sure that you're on song, especially for the playoffs.
Leeds at the moment with 12 men on the field because Ward has just been taken off. They've only got one replacement left. And Barry McDermott is prowling the touchline on the far side, waiting to come on. He would be the last one. Danny Ward actually comes back on, and McDermott is replacing MacDonald. And Ward has come back on with a bandage on a problem on the head.
Well, Leeds now, oh yeah, that's a nasty eye, isn't it?
Well, that means that Leeds then have got the 13 players out there to finish the match, and Poaching might well finish off Huddersfield here, and he does. Willie Poaching celebrates the signing of a 1-year extension to his contract this week with the try that finally extinguishes the flame of any possible Huddersfield Giants comeback.
Sheer quality running on the arc, and when they didn't get to him the first half, went far too high. Brandon Costin, he's definitely paid the price. Donald tried his best, but the sheer weight of this fella, Willie Poching, not the best from Costin, and he knows it. Always amazes me why they try to go high on such a big man like that. Can't run without their legs. That's what you got to aim for.
Began the match needing 2 for 50 in the British game. Now needs just the 1. The big Samoan. 2 caps for Western Samoa, 4 for Samoa in the last World Cup. And Rob Burrow here now is taking the goal-kicking responsibilities. Skipper Kevin Sinfield off the field, so it's down to Rob Burrow. 8 goals this year, 2 tries and a goal against Wakefield as a substitute last weekend. He's a bit warm underneath that head guard, but still, on a night like this, day like this. Rob Burrow. Not a bad kick. 2 points more for Leeds. 36 points to 10.
Great connection, wasn't it? That'll please him no end. Well, there's a man that really has just snuffed out any faint hope that Huddersfield had of maybe creating a shock here. Brendan Costin, who scored a wonderful solo try himself, will not want to look at that replay too many occasions.
And the kick-off lands easily in the arms of Lauatiti. He gave it to Burrow and Costin got the tackle in. Here's Adamson now. Danny Ward. Had a good drive at the middle from Ward. And Chris Nero could easily have been penalised then. Diskin to Barry McDermott. And Darren Fleary's down on his haunches. And Leeds have another penalty.
Surely they'll tap this or put it into the corner.
They've taken the tap, and here is Danny Ward. He brushes off one, he gives it to McKenna. Heffin O'Hare trying to get McKenna down and succeeds in the end.
He's had a big game as a prop forward, Danny Ward. He's been looking for work throughout this game.
This is Barry McDermott.
In conditions that really are not suited for forwards.
Diskin at dummy half. Finds Rob Burrow. Well,
I think this first one was okay. I think he just had a second go at it.
Well, we'll see. Who's the man of the match? And Dave Hadfield is the man who has that answer.
Well, you've got to give some credit, I suppose, to Brandon Costin for leading a bit of a fight back, but Leeds have dominated this match despite not really being at their best. We thought that Matt Diskin was good when he was on the field. Chris McKenna's had a good game. Marcus By's been highly effective. But we've given it to one of the lesser lights, one of the less sung players, had a big game today, Danny Ward.
Just proving that Steve-O knows a bit, eh? Danny Ward's had a big game. He has. He's gone home, or will be going home, tonight with the Tissot watch.
He's had a good season. He's been given the opportunity by his new coach, Tony Smith, and he's certainly rewarded him with some fine displays this year. And there you see, big smile on Paul March. You know, both the March brothers, they really, really do love rugby league, you know.
Well, Burrow has fielded a mistake from Costin. Could have been another penalty there. Nero was all over the top of Burrow, but the referee's opinion is that Rob Burrow actually was holding Chris Nero. Last 3 minutes of the game, Leeds have won it. They consolidate at the top. And this is Mathers. They switched off a little bit in the second half, and that won't have pleased Tony Smith. He is a perfectionist. Poaching wide to Senior, who drops it. And Paul White has it back for the Giants.
Displayed some nice touches, you know, the substitute Paul White, since he came off the bench. We're pleasing for the Giants coach, John Sharp. Oh, that looked a bit dodgy, didn't it?
The pass from ROARTY to Nero looked forward. This is March. There's ROARTY again. And wide to Hefin O'Hare. That's forward a mile.
It's not been picked up.
To Evans.
It has been picked up by the fullback Richie Mathers, but
it was a knock on anyway.
And there's poor March yet again. Trying to get a little...
He's given Richie Mathers a torrid afternoon, but Leeds have given the Giants a torrid afternoon as well.
They certainly have at times, but don't worry. Paul March will give anybody a torrid time.
Maguire, just a fumble and a knock on.
Well, I think both sides have decided that, come on, let's have the hooter. And to be quite fair, Eddie, I'm looking forward to it too. It's just fallen apart, hasn't it, in these last 10 minutes? Maybe that's due to the heat, no doubt.
Yeah, it's gone a little scratchy, it has, and yes, you have to say that. It's exhausting enough for us up here, what it must be like to actually play in these conditions. But that's what Summer Rugby League is all about. That's what the Super League is all about.
Well, I don't know whether an attempted kick by Brandon Costin was about anything. It looked to me as though he just lost all the energy.
McDermott.
Well, the Giants should be looking through for a little bit of a game themselves and to make sure that Leeds do not score.
Here's Willie poaching again. He's looking for that 50th. Inside the last minute. He'll take the tackle. Diskin. Maguire stabs the ball through. And Donlan says they're not going to get another 4 points if he can help it, and hammers the ball dead in goal.
Neat little stab through. Wanted for a little half-back partner, Rob Burrow, by Danny Maguire.
Well, his comeback to Huddersfield has ended with victory.
He looks bored though, doesn't he? I think he knows that it's been one of those days.
Good in parts, the performance. Wonder what his verdict will be. Maybe we'll hear from him before the end. This is Marcus Bye. And John Sharp, well, he knows his men fought valiantly, particularly in the second half. They gave them too much of a start, though, to have any real hope. Poaching, Diskin, hit by Nero, flicks the ball back to Poaching. Here is Maguire. Maguire with a chip to the corner, looking for Chris McKenna. McKenna's going to score. Time was up. That was the last play of the match. And the referee gives the try to Leeds and Chris McKenna. So they've hit the 40-point mark, courtesy of McKenna's 6th try of the season, and conversions to come.
Beautiful little chip there, wasn't it? McKenna came through. The hooter, well, the time was up anyway. They had to play to the final moment. McKenna, well, he caps up a fine performance. The past few weeks, he really has played quite superbly. And they'll be pleased with that. It was a bit scrappy in the second half, but a smile at long last on the face of the Rhinos coach, Tony Smith.
Yes, a broader smile, and interestingly enough, Rob Burrow here scored the try right on the bell of the first half, and McKenna has scored a try right on the bell of the match itself. And Burrow here trying to just add the extras to put just a little bit more icing on the cake. 40 points to 10. Make that 42 points to 10. And we talk a lot about points difference come the end of the season. I wonder if that will have any bearing on the placings come the end of the weekly round. Comprehensive win for Leeds, 7 tries to 2. Huddersfield will drop out of the top 6 then this evening, no matter what happens at Odsal between Bradford and Warrington. Wakefield are there already, courtesy of their victory over Castleford, and Leeds will consolidate their position at the top of the table. And there is a deserving man of the match with the scars of battle as well. Here is the Leeds coach, Tony Smith, and he's talking to Bill.
Tony, satisfactory result. Did the second half take the shine off the things a bit?
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
It's hard in these conditions, you know, it really is. It's hard for rugby league. We're not allowed any extra water carriers on at the moment. These people are just, you know, some of the decisions made under those sort of circumstances probably aren't the best. It's a bit dangerous, I think. I'm not sure.
That apart, certainly the first 40 minutes you'd have been happy.
Yeah, you know, the boys did a fairly good job, I thought. You know, too many errors from both teams, but that's what you get in these conditions. You know, had they been able to get a bit more water and a bit more rest at times, you know, maybe they would have handled the conditions better. But both teams showed it. There was way too many errors in both teams. Neither coach is going to be overly happy, but you've got to understand these circumstances.
Tony, thanks very much indeed. Which makes the fact that the man of the match turned out to be Danny Ward even more remarkable, because it's a hard day for everybody, but more so probably for the hard-working props.
Oh yeah, all credit to our boys. 1 to 17 did great today, especially the forwards. I hope there's more 3 o'clock kick-offs. We just love them, the big boys. So yeah, it was tough.
And the scars on your forehead will show it, Danny. I mean, Huddersfield, no matter what the result, they're always going to give it to you.
Yeah, I like to thank Daz Flady for that one. He caught me, but I'll get him back sooner or later. So yeah, it's a tough one. Huddersfield are a big, strong side, and it's always a tough game against them. We expected that.
Danny, well done on the man of the match performance.
Thanks a lot, Bill. Cheers.
He deserved it too, Danny Ward. Congratulations to him. And Leeds 5 points clear at the top after 22 weekly rounds. Hull are next, Wigan a third, Saints fourth, Bradford, well, we'll have to see what happens to them later on against the Warrington Wolves. But Wakefield are in the top 6, and of course all sorts of things going on still down at the bottom. Well, Dennis Betts has been with us throughout the course of the afternoon. Leeds just clicked off a bit, Dennis, I think.
They switched off, but they've got to be right too. They're 30 points up. They've got to control the game. It's very tough out there, like Tony Smith said, when the sun's on your back and the big boys are starting to get a little bit tired. They're only allowed 1 water carrier in the game. Makes it a little bit tough to get water to them, but they show what class out that they are. To win by 42 points shows that they're a great side.
Yes, they are a good side, great side. We shall see on October the 16th if they get to Old Trafford. Steve-O has been predicting Leeds will get to Old Trafford and win a grand final almost since Super League began. Is this their year?
I think it is. I think that they can sort out these problems that they had in the second half. Okay, the game was won. I think I mentioned with about 10 minutes to go that it is extremely difficult for a player to run around and play as a unit when you know you've got the game won. Very, very hot conditions. I don't think either coach will take too much about what happened in the second 40 minutes. John Sharp, of course, he'll be a little bit pleased that yet again the Giants really stood up. They didn't just fall apart. They really worked hard in that second half. And who knows, maybe Leeds do have a slight problem, is that they can just clock off at times in the second half.
Okay, that's this weekend done and dusted, and let's now take a look at what's coming up for you from the Super League next weekend. Bradford against Wigan, Friday at 7:30, Sky Sports 1. A big night at Odsal. And next Saturday, well, a big night also at Salford's home ground, the Willows, when they entertain the WIDNES Vikings. 6 o'clock on Sky Sports 1. It's thanks very much to Dennis Betts for being here with us, and who knows, Leeds Wigan at Old Trafford? Well, Steve-O, as I say, has been tipping Leeds all the way. We shall see. See you in the week. Bye-bye. This is Diskin. Here's McDonald, the big man's over. And this is Marcus Bai. And it's a stroll in for Marcus Bai. And Cummins keeps it alive, and that is a try for Chris McKenna. Burrow to Maguire, showed it to Senior, gave it to Marcus Bai, comes back for the return, and there's number 30 for Maguire. Poching might well finish off Huddersfield here, and he does.